Welcome back to our video series on the Pingji Romanization for Cantonese. This video's lesson will be the first of 2 lessons on vowels. Let's start with some organization. All our vowel sounds are going to be divided into a couple pairs of categories. First are what I'll call simple vowels versus compound vowels. These are straightforward. A simple vowel is just one pure sound. A compound vowel, technically called a diphthong, is a combination of 2 vowel sounds. After that, we have 2 types of simple vowels, either short or long, which refer to vowel length. There are 2 letters used to represent both short and long sounds, while others will be differentiated by doubling the letter to form the long vowel sound. We'll start by just focusing on the simple vowels in this lesson. There are a whopping 9 different simple vowels in Pingji. Since the Latin alphabet only has 5 typical vowels, we had to double some letters and also repurpose the letter V to accommodate these sounds. Now remember, we've already talked about the letter E in the intro video. As a reminder, this made the eh sound, which is a long vowel sound. Next, we've also talked about the letter I. Remember that this has 2 sounds. One is the long I, like in the word sushi. The other is the short I sound before a back consonant, so like in the English words sick or sing. So the letter I can act as either a long vowel or a short vowel, depending on what sound comes after it. And since it just depends on the letter after it, we don't need to make a separate double letter I to separate short from long. Next up is our first new vowel letter, O. This is very different from English and makes the long vowel sound O. O. This is kind of difficult to explain since it only exists in certain dialects of English, but for anyone familiar with the New England accent, think about how they say the first O in the word Boston. Boston. Do you hear it? For anyone familiar with Mandarin, this is also the exact same sound for the pinyin letter O, like in the word for me, 我. Next up is the single letter A, not the double letter A. It makes the sound uh. This is like a really truncated version of the sound ah, to the point where it sounds very similar to the neutral sound in English, like in the word what, but with your mouth just a bit more open, so like if you were to pronounce it as what instead of what. This is of course a short vowel. Unlike the letter I though, this is always short. Why do we even care if a vowel is short or long? Well, one big reason is that a short vowel always needs a final consonant after it. Which also means that this delicious Vietnamese noodle dish that we call pho is not a legal sound in Cantonese. This fact alone can alter the spelling of the double letters, which brings us to our next vowel, double A. The double A is an easy one. It's just the ah in father, ah. There's just one spelling quirk with this that I'm going to explain now though. To explain, I'm going to be using this scheme where a big C stands for any consonant and the big V stands for any vowel. So in the first example, you see a consonant at the end. Whenever the double A has an ending consonant, it stays as is, 2 A's. But if there's no ending consonant, then the second A is omitted. Remember that words can never end with short vowels, so this cannot be the short A sound even though we spell it with just one A. So these 2 example words written in Pingji, fan and fa, both have the long A vowel sound. Please don't read the bottom one as fa. So let's compare our double A and short A now to drill it in. Here are 2 words I made up. How would you say them? They're what and what. Here are the closest English words so that you can compare using more familiar words. What and what. And one more pair to illustrate the spelling change rule. Wa and what. See how the top word WA has no ending consonant, so it's automatically long. And going forward, if you see any word in Pingji end with a vowel, it will always be long. Remember that. Hopefully that was clear. If not, feel free to rewind because we have the other short and long vowel pair coming up next. Its sound slightly differs depending on what kind of consonant follows after it. If it's a back consonant, like a K or Q, it's the same sound as the double O in the English word book. Oh. So the only possible final sounds are uk and ung. But if it's before a mid-consonant, T or N, it makes a similar sound, but you have to round your lips while saying it. Uh, uh. The only possible final sounds are ut and un. I'll try to clarify these sounds a little more. I'm going to make up a Cantonese word spelled P-U-T, but I'm going to break the rule and pronounce this the way you would if it ended with a K or Q, just so you could hear the vowel sound. Just focus on that. So the Cantonese sound represented by the letter U in this setting is literally the same thing as the English word put. Put. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I'm now going to use the exact same letter combination, but now make the sound the U makes when followed by a T or N. Put. Put. Similar but different. It almost sounds like I'm saying the English word put, doesn't it? You can try saying that, but again, round your mouth a little bit more, like our fish friend is doing here. Put. Don't worry if this is difficult for you. Especially with the sounds completely foreign in English, you just gotta listen and practice them. And if it's really difficult to nail down, just pronouncing it like the U in put will be close enough. Luckily, outside of a few words like the word chut, meaning away or out, it's not that common in Cantonese. Just to spend a little more time practicing these, I'm going to pronounce the letter U in all 4 possible different final combinations. Lok, long, chut, chun. One more time to drill this down, and this time I'm going to use actual words. Lok sik, meaning the color green. Hong sik, meaning the color red. Chut bin, meaning outside. Chun tin, meaning springtime. Again, these are lok sik, hong sik, chut bin, chun tin. Alright, let's move on to our next vowel. So now that we finished the short U, we're going to do the long U, represented by 2 U's. This one's really easy because it's in English and it's the exact same sound as the U in tube. But if you look at the list of vowels at the top, I linked this letter to the single U with a hyphen, just like the single A is connected to double A. So you guessed it, they also have a similar spelling rule. Remember what that rule is for the A's? You can never end a word with a short vowel. So if there's no final consonant, we can abbreviate this to the single letter to end the word instead. So here in this example word fun, we have to use 2 U's because there's a consonant at the end. Now if you were to drop that N and instead wanted to say fu, then we just need a single U, F-U. So the word F-U is pronounced as fu. We've already talked about 2 pairs of letters that slightly change spelling depending on if there's an ending consonant or not. So let's do a quick recap. What are those ending consonants? Hint, there's 6 of them. And the answers are the 3 stops and the corresponding 3 nasals. P, T, K, M, and Q. Alright, we're now at the last 2 vowels. Neither of them are sounds that exist in English. I'll start with the letter V. This makes the sound U. U. For many people, this sound will be most familiar to them as the letter U with 2 dots on it. Those 2 dots are called an umlaut. We'll call that letter U umlaut. We see that letter most commonly in German, so for example the word über. But if you don't know German, how about French? The French U makes the same sound, like in the word tu. And if you don't know either of those languages, what about Mandarin? Pinyin also uses the U umlaut, like in the word nu. And for anyone who doesn't know any of these, well, let's train your mouth now. This is how you can make the sound U. First, make and hold the sound E. E. You can hear the sound coming from the front of your mouth and see your mouth making a nice big smile. E. Just like that. Now what I want you to do as you're making that sound, round your lips. E. U. Your lips should be the same shape you make when you make the sound oo. E. U. You can see how it's different than oo because u is at the front of your mouth and oo is at the back. But your mouth shape literally doesn't change because they're both rounded vowels, meaning you round your lips to say them. Try it out like I'm about to. U, oo, u, oo. After some practice, hopefully you now know how to create a rounded vowel sound, because we're going to repeat this again for our last vowel. But before we do, I just want to address the question that you might be asking, why the letter V? Why not the U umlaut or something else? Well, one simple way to look at it is that Pinyin can do the same thing in a way. When using a standard keyboard to type Pinyin, we use the V key because there is no U umlaut on the keyboard. And remember, one of the goals of Pingji is to be able to type using the standard 26 letters. So that's the main reason. Pingji's goal is to not rely on non-standard letters, and the letter V just happens to be unused because there is no V sound in Cantonese. But there's even more. The link between V and U goes deeper than that. So let's do a fun quick history lesson that will hopefully drill in this letter change for you. Believe it or not, back in the good old days of the Roman Empire, there was no letter U. Check out any Latin inscription. Instead, you'll see the letter V everywhere. For example, you could see here Emperor Augustus spelled with a V, and below that, Aquarum. It wasn't until much later that the letter V was created to separate the vowel sound from the consonant V sound. That's also why we call the letter W double U, even though it looks like a double V. But it's not just ancient Romans. You'll also see the vowel V today, such as in the fashion brand Bulgari, or the Scottish synth pop band Churches. So bottom line, in Pingji we're using the letter V, which both is historically connected to and resembles the letter U, in order to represent a sound that's also been closely associated with the letter U. Hopefully that makes sense, and you can think of this as just a weird U and erase the V sound from your head while using Pingji. We're at the last letter now, and it's the third simple vowel that's written with double letters. However, this is not related to single O, which is why I didn't link the two in the list of vowels above. Right off the bat, what this means is that you can end a word with two O's. Although to be honest, you'll rarely see words with no final consonant. So how do you say this one? Uh. Again, not an English sound, so let's go through the rounds. If you know German, then this is an O with an umlaut, like in the word schön. And if you know French, it's like in the word se. What if you speak Mandarin? Well, that's too bad because this sound doesn't exist in Mandarin. Anyways, here's what you do if you aren't familiar with the sound. We're gonna do the same thing we did last time, except we're gonna make the sound. Your mouth should still be smiling, but be a little bit more open than when you were saying E. Once again, you need to hold that sound down, and then proceed to round your mouth. And that's basically it, the same trick as the letter V. And with that, we've covered all the simple vowels. I'm going to focus a bit on the last two letters to demonstrate some words with them before going to our practice words. This time we'll use actual Cantonese words and try to repeat the sounds. Yu, Chun, Shi, Chak, Zheng, Yung. Let's wrap it up by doing some exercises. How would you pronounce these words? I'll give you a few seconds to pause and then try it out yourself. Alright, these are but, ga, mo, mun, lam. Again, but, ga, mo, mun, lam. And here's the next batch. I'll let you pause now for a few seconds. Alright, these are nga, tim, seung, du, dong. Again, that's nga, tim, seung, du, dong. Finally, how do you spell these next 5 words? Get ready to write them down as I say them, or spell out loud. Bing, sun, guak, gong, quan. Again, bing, sun, guak, gong, quan. I'll give you a couple seconds to rewind if you need to and spell them out. And these are the answers. One more time, these words were bing, sun, guak, gong, quan. And I have 5 more. Here they are. Ngo, Teng, Wu, Ngam, Sut. Again, Ngo, Teng, Wu, Ngam, Sut. I'll give you a few seconds to pause and then spell them out now. And these are the answers. One more time, these words were Ngo, Teng, Wu, Ngam, Sut. That brings us to the end of this video. Practice those letters if you need to, but otherwise I'll see you in the next video where we'll go over the rest of the vowels.